Welcome everyone to Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Rearden, and I'll be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about the current state of the world. Now, if you've turned on the news recently, I'm sure there's just a news story. There's something that's out there that's trying to get your attention, to make you fear. And that's what news does, right? It makes you fear. But the current state of the world is more than just the news, and we're going to look at some of the news networks. But we do want to talk about the current state of the world and where we're going as a culture, where we're going as people, and where we're going as a mindset. Because if we understand the mindset that the majority of people have, then we can start to say, okay, well, this is the cause and effect. And that's something I specialize in. So let's start to look at some of the news networks and then start to break down what's happening, how it correlates to mindset, and then what's the cause and effect of what is going to happen in the future. So we're going to start off with CNN. And CNN is going to be fake news, but it is news nonetheless. So we do need to look at it to see what CNN is sprouting, because then there's going to be people who believe in CNN. For example, my mom, she believes in what CNN says because she's like, oh my God, look what's happening, right? Now, the news that is out right now, or the recent news, is about the balloon, the Chinese balloon that was over Montana, and that they were spying and surveillance, and they're questioning, well, why was this balloon over Montana and not shot down sooner? So that raises red flags for the safety of our nation, of the country, of the people in it. So a lot of people are fearful now. They're like, well, if the government is supposed to be protecting us and the army and the military is supposed to be protecting us, why are we allowing foreign nations to cross our borders? I don't know what the reason is, but what I can tell you is that there is going to be an awakening happening because of this event. And it's just going to lead up to what we're going to be talking about momentarily. Same thing here. We talk about the most recent breaks in our defense. Same thing here. We talk about the lack of urgency, what's happening. Even here, we're talking about the same thing, where many people are just figuring out, well, like what's going on here, right? Because it is popular trending news, and we talk about the war in Ukraine still, so that's always going to be happening. Then we talk about world news, of course, is going to be Ukraine and things like that. News here. And then, of course, just talking about things that are tragic that has happened in the world. And then the same thing here on news, talking about war and talking about invasion. So the takeaways of what's trending right now, I guess you can say, is war and invasion. Russia, Ukraine, China, United States. Maybe what's going to happen next is that there's going to be some type of unrest that can happen that's going to divide us even more as a culture. Think of what happened with George Floyd, but it can happen maybe at a greater extent. Recently, a couple of weeks ago, maybe months ago now, there was some black officers who beat up another black man. Now those officers are, I'm sure, charged with the murder of that man. We do have to understand something about culture, because we look at, well, we can easily look at, well, that's racism because they're attacking a black man, but is it really racism if another black man attacks another black man? Because that's been happening for hundreds of years at this point now. So we have a lot of infighting in cultures. One culture is going to fight their culture, and then it's kind of like, well, if we're fighting each other, then why does the other person have to fight us? And we say that the problem is society and how we need equal pay and equal rights and equal liberty when we already have it. We just have the mindset that is not congruent with having the equality aspect of what we can attain. So breaking that down, what I just said is that we have simple mindsets. Most people have simple mindsets. Oh, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get a bag. Oh, I'm going to go out and buy this car that I can't afford. Oh, I'm going to go out and get this house because it's better than renting. Whatever you think, right? We think we know what's best. Not saying that you don't, but we have been giving a lot of false information. For example, the news is going to tell us exactly what they want to tell us. Look at the pandemic. What happened with that? They told us exactly what they wanted to, and people believed exactly what they were told. I recently read a book called Sapiens, and Sapiens is about the human evolution, about how we come as humans, and how now we're living in the scientific age, right? During the pandemic, they talked a lot about trust the science, right? Science, right? We live in the science age. And also in that book, and this book was written years ago at this point, they said that the scientific age will probably be the end of our current evolution of humans. Why do you think that is? Shouldn't science be helping us? Shouldn't we being better, right? Having a longer lifespan? But that's not the case, huh? Everything is going down. Things are going downhill. Now, it's not going downhill drastically, but steadily, right? Similar to how inflation was growing, lifespan was going down. And it's not because quality of life has gotten worse, but because our mindset has gotten worse. I don't think people understand that stress can lower your lifespan. That means if you're stressed, you're worried about all the things that you need to worry about, but you're not taking care of yourself. Your body's like, oh man, breaking down. And then all of that right there is going to cause a shorter lifespan. We're worried about who likes us. We're worried about how many likes we get, how many followers we have, if our video is doing well, if we're making a difference in the world, if someone likes us, being in the right relationship, keeping up with the Joneses, having the right car and the right phone and the right clothes. All of these different things stop us from living a life that's less stressful. I'm sure there's some people who want to disconnect. They want to say, I want to go off into a mountain and live in a cabin with a dog or a cat. But then at the same time, can they do it? Can they disconnect from society? So the cause and effect that we are dealing with right now is we are dealing with technology and science, and then what people have grown accustomed to. Most people find that they live in a comfortable lifestyle. They have a house, they have a car typically, they have means for paying for groceries or acquiring groceries. So they have a very simple life. But what happened if that was taken away? Your house was taken away, you need to figure out where you live. Or you had to create your own shelter. You don't have the skills for that. Or most people don't have the skills for that. For procuring food, most people don't have the skills for that. They don't have a green thumb. They don't even know anything about gardening. They don't have the tools or the resources or the land. They live in an apartment, right? So they can't even get their own food. How about transportation? It's easy now because we have Uber and Lyft and we can just call someone up for a ride. But if we had to get from A to B, are we in physical shape to get there? We'd probably faint halfway there, pass out. We are going in a path that eventually is going to come to an abrupt end because we're not equipped with the knowledge and the physical structure to get the things done. Our current body, our current way of thinking is limited in the sense of I grew from a hunter and gatherer type of mindset where the bodies of them were different. They're tougher. Now we're softer. We're more frail. We can change that, right? But society is not going to just simply all of a sudden, boom, overnight change. It's going to take hundreds, thousands of years maybe for us to change again. So that means we're stuck in what we have. And we need to figure out, well, if this is what we have, if something happens in our life, can we show up? Do we have the mental fortitude to show up or to keep on pushing when things are going bad? Or to start all over? Many people hit rock bottom, hit depression, hit some grief, and they're out of the game. They're done. So the moment something bad happens in your life, what do you think is going to be what the majority of people do? They're going to cower, they're going to fear, and they're not going to show up. That's the cause and effect. Now, I'm not saying that, for example, in Ukraine, what happened was they shipped out all the women and some of the men stayed to fight. Okay? What about equality? Right? Some women stay to fight. But we're talking about protecting your lands. Everyone should fight. Everyone should be a part of it. Everyone should be a protector. But when it matters, right, the draft or whatever comes, you're not equipped mentally, physically. We're different biologically. So we have created a gap in the world. We have demasculated men and we have masculated women. What that has done is it has changed the mindsets of the individuals. So now the family unit is no longer prominent. Everyone is operating on an independent basis. I'm singular to the whole entire nation. Don't ask what my country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. We don't even ask what we can do for our neighbors, our community, our parents. We worry about what we need. We worry about our situation. We cry because we have stress, but we don't look at what other people have. We don't worry about what type of shoes they have, how far they've walked in them. because they say don't judge a person until you walk a mile in their shoes. And I wouldn't want anyone to walk a mile in my shoes because the responsibilities, the commitments, all of the things that I have to deal with. Not saying that other people don't deal with more, but at the same time, these are my problems. I'm not going to push them on anyone. But I do understand the cause and effect. If I run away from my problems, I'm going to be running away for the rest of my life. I need to show up. How do I show up? And right now in our world, we have a lot of people who decide not to show up. We have a lot of people who say, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to do that. But then they don't do it. So the only thing we're learning, our subconscious mind is just changing every single day. Oh, wait, we live in such a forgiving time that if I don't do something, there's a way for me to be protected. I lose my house, I'll go to homeless shelter. Oh, I'm hungry. We throw away so many food here in America. You can go to a trash can, eat out of a trash can. Or you can go to a food shelter. Or you can go to your local church and you can get some provisions there. Well, how about taking a bath, shower, things like that? Again, there's going to be facilities for that too. We have police that are going to protect you. We have hospitals that are going to heal you. Even if you don't have money, it's part of the process. Now, you might be in debt, but you're going to be at least patched up and taken care of. We have fallen from being self-sufficient. We have fallen from understanding the importance of community. So self-sufficient is not just like, oh, I'm independent, I can do things myself. Yes, I'm sure you can do things yourself, but what happens if your money can't buy anything? The world's on fire, there's no food. You're going to throw a couple dollars at someone saying to give you a can when they want that can for themselves or their family? No, it's not going to happen. So we need to know, how can we gain the skills necessary for our survival? Because the current state of the world might be on the brink of collapse. I don't think we're anywhere near that at this point, but it can take an irreconcilable difference to make something happen. The Civil War happened because the North and the South couldn't come to agreements or terms to slavery. So the fact that slavery started the war, or the fact that we couldn't agree upon things, was the reason why we started the Civil War. Now, we live in a time that's more plush and people are more agreeable. I will say that men have become more agreeable and women have become less agreeable. But guess what happens? Men are more violent typically, right? If we look at just the numbers and the statistics and how many men are in jail for violent crimes, a lot more than women. So that means men are more capable or more prone to use violence. So if men have now become more docile, more domesticated, guess what happens? There's less violence. The probability of a civil war happening the same way it happened before is almost out the window. Now, we had that protest with George Floyd and the riots and things like that, and people showed up, right? But that was culture. That was the woke culture operating, right? Oh, we're going to start a movement, right? Oh, we're going to go stand on the bridge and block a bunch of cars because we're upset. Why is you getting on the highway, blocking people who are trying to go to work or go home, a part of your movement? Oh, I'm mad, so I'm going to stop everyone. I'm going to stop the flow of traffic. I'm going to stop the government. I'm going to stop culture. I'm going to stop the nation. We already stopped the nation once with the pandemic. Why are we stopping it? Because someone can't control their emotions. So what is the next civil war, right? What is going to be the next brink of collapse? It's going to be exactly that, emotion. It's not going to be about, oh, we have a difference. It's going to be about an extreme emotion that comes into play. Might be anger, might be sadness. But when that emotion finally bubbles up, that's when everyone is going to feel, okay, this is it. I'm done. Now, will it be people pitted against people? Will it be government pitted against people? Will it be people pitted against the government? Will it be nation pitted against nation? We don't know what that is. But what I can say is that most people want people to be good. Most people want people to be in a good place. So if you're in a good place, that's a good thing. But if you're not in a good place, it's not a good thing. And right now, people are barely making it. Groceries are high still. Housing is going up. Interest, stuff like that. So if you weren't able to secure a lower interest mortgage, you want to buy a home, you're going to be paying a little bit more for your interest. And then not only, people have lost that low income or that low interest rate because they have refinanced their house because they don't have the money. So they're literally trying to stay afloat. So there's only a matter of time. There's only so long you can swim before you start to go sink a little bit more. And the more you sink and the more you falter, the more you're going to realize that time is running out. What do we do when the time runs out? What type of mindset do we need in order to be successful in our survival, to come out on top? Well, we do need to do our due diligence, and we need to figure out where we lack, whether it be in knowledge, whether it be in wisdom, whether it be in having strong individuals around us, and then getting rid of all the fat, right? Trimming all the excess that we don't need anymore in our life. There's going to be people who are going to be attacking you, attacking your character, attacking your beliefs and your opinions. Now, I have my own beliefs and I have my own opinions, and I'll tell you my beliefs and my opinions, and I'll tell you that if your beliefs or your opinions are living in a fantasy-based world, are silly. Not saying that you can't believe it, all right? You can believe whatever you want. I'm just making it aware for you. If you have a mental illness because of something that you believe, that's on you. I'm not here to change people's mindsets for the sake of changing people's mindsets. I'm here to offer an opportunity for people to change their mindset so they can change their circumstance. Because everyone wants to have a better circumstance, but they're not willing to change their current circumstance to get the better circumstance. So you need to figure out, well, exactly what do you want to do? What do you want to change in your life? Most people, they want change. They want good things to happen. They want to change the world. They want the world to treat them well or to support them. We have made it very easy to live life. And life is not easy. There's a lot of challenges we have to go through. Not saying that you don't have an easy life, or that you weren't given an easy life, or that you can't attain an easy life. But there's always going to be some issues. There's always going to be some dilemmas. There's always going to be some drama, because that is what we need as humans. The brain loves to have problems, because if the brain doesn't have problems, then it's not going to figure out solutions. If it doesn't need to figure out solutions, then why is the brain alive? And that's why we can go to all the mainstream medias. We can go to all the news networks, regardless of the day, and you're going to see there's going to be a negative news story that's going to incite fear, that's going to incite worry, that's going to incite concern. And as long as you're living in that concern and in that bubble of being controlled by what is given to you, you have to figure out, are you being informed or are you being misinformed? And right now, a lot of people have been misinformed. And that misinformation has not only been in the news and the social medias, and the mainstream medias, it has also been in our mindset. What can we do as people? What can we do together? What can we build? What can we create? When's the last time you went outside and did something with someone? Maybe you went shopping, right? I'm talking about building something, right? Go out and build a garden bed. Go out and clean up your local park. Do some community service. Go out and play with your kids. When's the last time you did that? It might be weeks, it might be months, it might be years since you did something like that. And you have allowed life to move you in that way. It is no longer a time to be complacent. It's no longer a time to be docile. We need to start to become more alpha in the sense, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do what I need to do that's necessary for growth. Get mindset coaching. Go out and get some therapy. Go out and get a gym membership. Get a personal trainer. Start to change your life, because the current state of the world is steadily going downhill. And I don't mean to be pessimistic here, but I'm telling you what I see. More people are stepping into the coaching world, not because coaching is going to make you a lot of money, but because there's a growing need for people who need coaches. Why do people need coaches? Why are we not teaching them in schools how to be self-sufficient? Why are parents not teaching their children how to be self-sufficient? Why are we not teaching people how to get over adversity and challenge and struggle and come out on top regardless? It's because we're not giving them the knowledge and the wisdom that they need. Unfortunately, there's going to be podcasts and there's going to be other coaches that come on, and they have shows that we're going to be talking about how you can get into a better state, how you can develop into the person that you're supposed to be developing into. Of course, it's going to be your TikToks and your YouTube shorts that are supposed to be entertaining, but you do need to ask, is this entertainment fulfilling me? Is this entertainment moving me? Or is this entertainment keeping me still? You don't want entertainment that's going to keep you still long term. We all need a break here and there. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take a break, but understand when you're supposed to take a break and when you're supposed to push. And right now we're getting to that point where we don't have an option for a break anymore. So that means either you're going to sink or you're going to stay afloat. And I would rather you stay afloat. Yes, I was a lifeguard in college, but I don't want to jump in and start saving people. I want to teach you how to swim. I want to teach you how to fish and catch your own food. How can we be of service to you? How can we help you come out on top? regardless of the current state of the world, regardless of what happens in your community, regardless what happens in your mind. It begins with some change. So ask yourself after this episode, what type of change do you need to implement into your life? Do you need to gain a skill? Do you need to gain some wisdom? Do you need to get some coaching or some training? Whatever it is, get it while you can. Whatever it is, do it now and not later, because the promise of time is never promised. So take action when you can, and that time is now. And if you need some assistance, head over to reardenconcepts.com. Look at what we have to offer, not only the paid stuff, but the free stuff, and get yourself what you need to be in a better state tomorrow. My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, you can always email me, coachinginsession@gmail.com, and I will see everyone in the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until then, everyone, take care.